Dear students, Assalamu alaikum. I hope you would be safe and sound inside your homes. Yesterday, the JK boss issued the date sheet for class 10th and 12th. You must remain psychologically motivated that we will crack the coming examinations with ease. Dear students, now it is a 40% reduction there. The 60% things are 60% syllabus you have to prepare for the coming examinations. Dear students, there will be 100 marks question paper and you have to attempt only 60% and that will be raised proportionally to 200. But dear students, you must remain psychologically motivated that the 60% we have to prepare the things, we have to prepare syllabus and this can be done very easily. Dear students, no doubt the board finally accepted that the students were not physically in the schools, they were connected to teachers virtually, and this virtual mode can't be the substitute for the actual mode of teaching. And finally, it made reduction, that is the 40% reduction. Now 60% syllabus you have to prepare. Remember, there would be 100 marks question paper and you have to attempt only 60%, that will be proportionally raised to 100. Dear students, yesterday a student from my area, a student who is enrolled in our school, make me learn how USSR or Soviet Union disintegrate in very short. Dear students, after the culmination of the Second World War in 1945, the the USSR, the former USSR, that is the Soviet Union, and the United States of America emerged two superpowers in the world. And there started the rivalry between the USSR and the Americans, that is United States of America, and this rivalry from 1945 to 1990 is termed as the Cold War in history. And Cold War is never an actual war, it is not a hard war, it's a war of talks or it is ideological war, it is fought in the minds of the people, where there is no actual gunfight, it is a war of talks. Dear students, but what made in simple the disintegration of Soviet Union? Dear students, Soviet Union had grown to the size to the point where it was difficult for a state to control it. Dear students, one more important thing for the cause of disintegration of USSR or weakening the Soviet Union was that most of it is defense, most of it is economy, and most of it is finance was going in the defense because there was a rivalry between the United States of America and USSR, and this rivalry was thought by many that it would change the Third World War. So the Russia, or we can say the Soviet Union, was preparing the defense to the larger extent. So their most proportion of their economy was, or the finance was going in the defense sector, and that became finally one cause of the collapse of the economic structure and which made finally disintegration of Soviet Union. Dear students, you might be knowing that there was a communist government. It was a communist ideology there, and in opposed to that, there was the capitalist economy that was going in. Americans, or we can say they were two different ideologies were working. Opposed ideology was working. The Soviet Union was promoting the communist ideology, and Americans were propagating or promoting the capitalist, which is there. But the communist policies did not bring any promising result. It did not show any promising results. The wages were declined there. The workers were not basically paid well. They had to work for 10 to 14 hours, but their wages was completely low. This whole disharmony finally became one of the cause of the disintegration of Soviet Union. Dear students, the policies of Michael Gorbachev, who became the General Secretary of the Communist Party and finally the President of Soviet Union, he tried to bring some economic reforms in the form of the two Russian terms, that is the Perestroika and Glasnost, and these reforms did not work. He wanted to bring reforms, but these reforms finally did not work, and there were the movements and upheavals which became the cause of disintegration of Soviet Union. Dear students, the friendly relationship between the Afghanistan and the Russia turned into the anti-friendly relation when they in some anti-communist insurgents attacked Afghanistan, and finally the Soviet Union was involved there. Soviet Union was supplying ammunition, and it was directly Soviet Union was involved there, and at the end there was no gain at all. So their economic stability, or we can say collapsed, or their economic stability destabilized when they were involved in the guerrilla war in Afghanistan. So they had no gain in the Afghanistan. This also shattered their economy, which became one of the cause of its disintegration. Their students, the Americans were progressing hard because there was a capitalist mode of uh, economy. Free markets were there, and people were free to earn. But this the state was also progressing. That was not going in the Russian and in the Soviet Union. That is in state-controlled system, or we can say it in the communist regime, or we can say it in the socialist regime. When the people saw that Americans are progressing hard, and this communist government or socialist government is giving nothing to us. So the movement started, which finally became the cause of disintegration of Soviet Union in 1991. So Soviet Union was disintegrated on 13th of December 1991, and finally the world order changed. That means the bipolar world changed into unipolar world. Before it, there was the bipolar world. That was The world was divided into two opposite power blocks. That was the Russian bloc and American bloc, or the USSR bloc and the American bloc. And when it was the collapse of Soviet Union on 31st of December 1991, it changed the world, or the bipolar world changed into unipolar world. Our students, so the economic system or the communist government did not yield results there. Their economic policies failed. Their budget or went in the defense. They were involved in Afghanistan, where they had nothing to gain in the end. These were the causes of disintegration of Soviet Union in 1991 in chat. Dear students, hope you might have grasped the concept. It's only a brief in brief, the collapse of this disintegration of USSR or Soviet Union. It's a very big description or a theory how finally it was collapsed. But for you, for the class 12 students, is enough. You can write down these points, and you will fetch the nice percentage of marks. I believe that if you write these points there, you will. If it is 5 marks question, you will fetch 5 out of 5. Dear students, now your date sheet has been issued. Better is to put extra efforts, do extra hard work. You have to prepare the things for 60% only. 40% reduction is there. You have to attempt 60 marks out of 100 marks, then that will be proportionally raised to 100. Dear students, remain psychologically motivated. In case of any difficulty, whenever you meet, do call your do call out your teachers, and we will be there available round the clock for you to erase your all difficulties. I love you all. Be psychologically motivated. You will crack the coming exam with nice percentage of marks. Thanks. Be balanced.